Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatha Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sagana Lalita Shivishikam Vitamscha Om Ajnana Timarandasha Gyanajana Shalakaya Chakshurun Milidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namo Gurva Bhistam Supurakam Garganara Sisha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipunam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govinda Bidam Ujwalam Varatanum Bhaktyan Bidam Sundaram Bande Vishwagurun Shah Divyad Bhagavat Premna Vibija Pradam Devam Divyatanum Suchanda Varanam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidyambudim Shri Siddhanta Nidim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Vandetam Shubharam Madhika Sharanam Nyashishvara Shridaram Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasindu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahamaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. So we're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is Antya-lila chapter 1, Srila Rupa Goswami's second meeting with the Lord. And I'll begin with verse number 149. Rayako he kahas sahaja primera lakan Rupa Gosai kohe sahajiga primadharm. Rayako he kaha sahaja primera lakan Rupa Gosai kohe sahajiga primadharma. Ramananda Roy further inquired, what are the natural characteristics of awakening love of Godhead? Rupa Goswami replied, these are the natural characteristics of love of God. Shrotam yatra tata statam prakatayats chitasya datevyadatam nindari pramadam prayachati parihasash Shriyam Bibrati Doshena Chayitam Gunena Gurutam Kinapi Anatanvati Premna Swarasika Kasyachid Iyam Vikridati Prakriya. When one hears praise from one's beloved, one outwardly remains neutral but feels pain within one's heart. When one hears one's beloved making accusations against him, he takes them to be jokes and enjoys pleasure. When he finds faults in his beloved, they do not diminish his love, nor do the beloved's good qualities increase his spontaneous affection. Thus spontaneous love continues under all circumstances. That is how spontaneous love of God acts within the heart. Shrutva nishturatam mamendu varana preman kurum bindati svante shanti duram vidhaya vidure praya paran shishyati kimva pamara kama karmuka paritrasta vimokshati asun Hamogdyad Falani Manorata Lata Mridvi Mayon Muldita. Upon hearing of my cruelty, moon-faced Radharani may establish some kind of tolerance in her aggrieved heart, but then she might turn against me, or indeed, being fearful of the lusty desires invoked by the bow of formidable Cupid, she might even give up her life. Alas, I have foolishly uprooted the soft creeper of her desire just when it was ready to bear fruit. Having been very cruel to Srimati Radharani, Krishna is repenting in this way. Yashot Sangha Sukashaya Shitilita Gorvi Gurubhyas Trapa Pranebhyopi Suritama Sakitata Yuyam Parikleshita Dharmasopi Mahanmaya Naganita Sadvibir Adhyasito Digdaryam Tad Upekshitapi Yad Aham Jivami Papiyasi. Desiring the happiness of his association and embraces, my dear friend, I disregarded even my superiors and relaxed my shyness and gravity before them. Furthermore, although you are my best friend, more dear to me than my own life, I have given you so much trouble. Indeed, I even put aside the vow of dedication to my husband, a vow kept by the most elevated women. Oh, alas! Although he is now neglecting me, I am so sinful that I am still living. Therefore, I must condemn my so-called patience. Srimati Radharani is speaking this verse to her intimate friend Vishaka Devi. Ganta Kelantyo Nija Sahaja Balasya Balanad Ubadram Badram Va Kim Api Ina Janimahi Manak Vayam Netum Yukta Katam Asharanam Kamapidasham Katam Na Nyayate Prataitum Udasina Padavi. I was engaged in my own playful activities in my home, and because of my childish innocence, I was engaged in my own playful activities in my home, and because of my childish innocence, I did not know right from wrong. Therefore, is it good for you to have forced us into being so much attracted to you and then to have neglected us? Now you're indifferent to us. Do you think that this is right? This verse is spoken to Krishna by Srimati Radharani. Antaklesha kalankita kila vayam yamoja yam yam purim nayam vanchana sanchaya pranayinam hasam tatapi ujjati asmin sambhutite gabira kapatar abira palivite ha Medavini Radhike Tavakatam Prema Gariyan Abut. Our hearts are so polluted by miserable conditions that we are certainly going to the kingdom of Yamaraj. Nevertheless, Krishna does not give up his beautiful smiling, his beautiful loving smiling, which is full of cheating tricks. O Srimati Radharani, you are very intelligent. How could you have developed such great loving affection for this deceitful debauchee from the neighborhood of the cowherds? This verse is spoken to Radharani by Lalita Sakhi. Hitvad dure pati davataror antikam dharma setur bangod Dagra Guru Shikarinam Brahmasa Langayanti Lebe Krishnarnava Navarasa Radhika Vahini Tvam Vagvichivi Kim Iva Vimuke Bhavam Asyasthanoshi. O Lord Krishna, you are just like an ocean. The river of Srimati Radharani has reached you from a long distance, leaving far behind the tree of her husband, breaking through the bridge of social convention, and forcibly crossing the hills of elder relatives. Coming here because of fresh feelings of love for you, that river has now received your shelter. But now you are trying to turn her back by the waves of unfavorable words. How is it that you are spreading this attitude? This is spoken to Krishna by Purnamasi. Rayako he Vrindavana Murali Nisvan. Rayako he Vrindavana Murali Nisvana Krishna Radhikara Kaiche Korijacha Varnana. Srila Ramananda Roy further inquired, how have you described Vrindavan, the vibration of the flute, and the relationship between Krishna and Radhika? Kahatomar kabitva shuni hoy chamatkar krame rupa gosai ko he kori namaskar. Please tell me all this, for your poetic ability is wonderful. After offering obeisances to Ramananda Roy, Rupa Goswami gradually began answering his inquiries. Sugando makanda prakara makarandasya madhure vinishyande vandi krita marupa vrindam muhoriram kritandolam mandona tibir anilais chandana girer mama nandam brinda vipinam atulam tundi layati. Mama nandam brinda vipinam atulam tundi layati. Tundi layati. Mama nandam brinda vipinam atulam tundi layati. So I'll read that again. Nagando makanda prakaram makarandasya madhure vinishyande vandi krita madupa brinda muhuridam kritandolam madano natibir anilais chandana girer mamanandam brinda vipinam atulam tundi layati. Tundilayati. The sweet, fragrant honey oozing from newly grown mango buds is again and again attracting groups of bumblebees, and this forest is trembling in the softly moving breezes from the Malaya hills, which are full of sandalwood trees. Thus the forest of Vrindaban is increasing my transcendental pleasure. It is spoken by Krishna himself. Vrindavanam divya lata paritam latascha pushpa suritagra bhaja pushpani cha svita madhuvratas cha shruti hari gita. My dear friends, see how this forest of Vrindaban is full of creepers and trees. The tops of the creepers are full of flowers, and intoxicated bumblebees are buzzing around them, humming songs that praise the ear, humming songs that please the ear and surpass even the Vedic hymns. My dear friends, see how this forest of Vrindaban is full of creepers and trees. The tops of the creepers are full of flowers, and intoxicated bumblebees are buzzing around them, humming songs that please the ear and surpass even the Vedic hymns. Kvachit bringi gitam, kvachit anila bhangi, shishrata, kvachit vadi lashyam, kvachit amala mali parimala, kvachit dara shadi, karakafala pali rasabaro, rishikanam vrindam pramadayati Vrindavanam idam. My dear friend, this forest of Vrindavan is giving great pleasure to our senses in various ways. Somewhere bumblebees are singing in groups, and in some places mild breezes are cooling the entire atmosphere. Somewhere the creepers and the twigs, tree twigs are dancing. The Malika flowers are expanding their fragrance, and an overabundance of juice is constantly flowing in showers from pomegranate fruits. Param Rishtan Gushta Trayam Asita Ratnar Ubayato Vahanti Sankirno Manibir Arunais Tat Parisaro Tayor Madhye Hirojvala Bimala Jambunada Mai Kore Kalyaniyam Viharati Hare Keli Murali. The flute of Krishna's pastimes measures 3 fingers in length, and it is bedecked with Indra-nila gems. At the ends of the flute are Aruna gems, rubies, glittering beautifully, and between its ends the flute is plated with gold set ablaze by diamonds. This auspicious flute, pleasing to Krishna, is glittering in his hand with tremendous brilliance. Sadvam shatas tavad jani purushottamasya pano stitir moralike saralasi jatya Kasmat tvaya saki goror Vishama grihita Gopangana Gana vimohana mantradiksha. My dear friend, the flute, it appears that you have been born of a very good family, for your residence is in the hands of Sri Krishna. By birth you are simple and are not at all crooked. Why then have you taken initiation into this dangerous mantra that enchants the assembled gopis? This is spoken by Srimati Radharani. Saki Murali Vishala Chidra Jalena Purna Jagorati Katina Tvam Grantila Nirashasi Tadapi Bhajasi Shachvaj Chumbanandam Sandram Harikara Parirambam Kena Punyodayena. My dear friend, the flute, you are actually full of many holes or faults. You are light, hard, juiceless, and full of knots. But what kind of pious activities have engaged you in the service of being kissed by the Lord and embraced by his hands? This is spoken by Chandravaldi, the Gopi competitor of Srimati Radharani. Rundan ambulbritas chamatkriti param kurvan muhus tumburum jnanad antarayan sanandana mukan vima payam vedasam otsukya valibir balim chatulayan bogindram agurnayan bindan andakataha bitim abito babrahma vamshidvani. The transcendental vibration of Krishna's flute blocked the movements of the rain clouds, struck the Gandharvas full of wonder, and agitated the meditation of great saintly persons like Shanaka and Sananda. It created wonder in Lord Brahma, wrought intense curiosity that agitated the mind of Bali Maharaj, and who was otherwise firmly fixed, made Maharaj Ananta, the carrier of the planets, whirl around and penetrated the strong coverings of the universe. Thus the sound of the flute in the hands of Krishna created a wonderful situation. This is spoken by Madhu Mangal, a cowherd friend of Krishna's. Ayam Nayana Dandita Pravara Pundarika Prabha Prabhati Nava Jaguda Duti Vidambi Pitambara Aranyaja Parishkriya Damita Divya Veshadaro Harin Mani Manohara Jyutibir Ujvalango Hari. The beauty of Krishna's eyes surpassed the beauty of white lotus flowers. His yellow garments surpass the brilliance of fresh decorations of kumkum. His ornaments of selected forest flowers subdue the hankering for the best of garments, and his bodily beauty possesses mind-attracting splendor greater than that of the jewels known as Marakata Mani, emeralds. Jangadas Tatasangi Dakshina Param Kinchit Vibhugna Trikam Sachistambita Kandaram Sakitira Sanchari Nitranshalam Vamshim Kutmalite Dharanam Adare Lolanguli Sangatam Ringad Bru Brahmaram Varangi Paramanandam Purash Svikuru. O most beautiful friend, please accept Krishna, who is standing before you, full of transcendental bliss. The borders of his eyes roam from side to side, and his eyebrows move slowly like bumblebees on his lotus-like face. Standing with his right foot placed below the knee of his left leg, the middle of his body curved in three places, and his neck gracefully tilted to the side. He takes his flute to his pursed lips and moves his fingers upon it here and there. Kulabharatanu Dharma Grava Brindani Bindan Sumuki Nishita Dirga Panga Tanga Chatabi Yuga Padayam Apurva Ka Puro Vishvam Karma Marakatamani Lakar Goshta Kaksham Chinoti. O beautiful faced one, who is this creative person standing before us with the sharp chisels of his loving glances? He is splitting the hard stones of many women's devotion to their husbands, and with the luster of his body surpassing the brilliance of countless emeralds, he is simultaneously constructing private meeting places for his pastimes. This is spoken by Radharani to Lalita Devi. Mahendramani Mandali Maravidambi Dehadutir Prajendra Kula Chandrama Surati Kopi Navyo Yuva Sakistira Kulangana Nikara Nivi Bandargala Chida Karana Kotuki Jayati Yasya Vamshidvani. My dear friend, this newly youthful Lord Sri Krishna, the moon in the family of Nanda Maharaj, is so beautiful that he defies the beauty of clusters of valuable jewels. All glories to the vibration of his flute, For it is cunningly breaking the patience of chaste ladies by loosening their belts and tight dresses. This verse is spoken by Lalita Devi to Radharani. Balarakshnor Lakshmi Kavalayatin Navyam Kuvalayam Mukolasha Fulam Kamalavanam Ulangayati Cha Dasham Kashtam Ashtaparam Api Nayati Angika Ruchir Vichitram Radhaya Kim Api Kila Rupam Vilasati. The beauty of Srimati Radharani's eyes forcibly devours the beauty of newly grown blue lotus flowers, and the beauty of her face surpasses that of an entire forest of fully blossomed lotuses. Her bodily luster seems to place even gold into a painful situation. Thus, the wonderful, unprecedented beauty of Srimati Radharani is awakening in Vrindaban. This verse is spoken by Purnamasi. Vidur eti diva virupatam shatapatram bhata sarvari mukhe iti kena sada shriyojvalam tulanam arhati mat priyanandam vidur eti diva virupatam shatapatram bhata sarvari mukhe iti kena sada shriyojvalam tulanam arhati mat priyananam. Although the effulgence of the moon is brilliant initially at night, in the daytime it fades away. Similarly, although the lotus is beautiful during the daytime, at night it closes. But, oh my friend, the face of my most dear Radharani is always bright and beautiful, both day and night. Therefore, to what can her face be compared? It's spoken by Krishna to Madhamangal. Pramada rasa taranga smera ganda stalaya smaradanur anubandhi bru lata lasya bhaja madakala chala bringi branti bangim dadhano hridayam idam adangshit Pakshma Laksha Kataksha. When Srimati Radharani smiles, waves of joy flow over her cheeks, and her arched eyebrows dance like the bow of Cupid. Her glance is so enchanting that it is like a dancing bumblebee moving unsteadily due to intoxication. That bee has bitten the whirl of my heart. Is spoken by Krishna. Raya kohe tomara kavitva mriteradar vitiya natakera kaha nandi vyavahar. Having heard these verses recited by Rupa Goswami, Srila Ramananda Roy said, "Your poetic expressions are like continuous showers of nectar. Kindly let me hear the introductory portion of the second drama." Rupa kohe kahantumi suryopama bas muikon kudra jena kadyota prakash. Srila Rupa Goswami said, "In your presence, which is just like brilliant sunshine, I am as insignificant as the light of a glowworm." Tomara age darshya e mukha vyandana. Tomara age darshya e mukha vyadana eti boli nandi shloka korila vyakyana. It is even impudent for me to open my mouth before you. Then having said this, he recited the introductory verse of the Lalita Madhava. Suraripu Sudrisham Uroja Kokan Suraripu Sudrisham Uroja Kokan Mukha Kamalani Ja Kedayan Akanda Chira Akila Surij Shakoranandi Dishatu Mukunda Yasha Shashi Mudamvaha. The beautiful moonlight glories of Mukunda give distress to the lotus-like faces of the wives of the demons and to their raised breasts, which are like gleaming chakravak birds. Those glories, however, are pleasing to all his devotees who are like chakora birds. May those glories forever give pleasure to you all. This is the first verse of Lalita Madhava. Dvitiyanande kaha deki raya puchila sankochab paya rupa padite lagila. When Srila Ramananda Roy further inquired about the second introductory verse, Srila Rupa Goswami was somewhat hesitant, but nevertheless he began to recite. Nija pranaitam sudam udayan apnuva yakshito kiratialam uri krita dvija kula diraja stiti salanjita tamastatir mama sachi sutakyal shashi vashikrita jagan mana kim api sharma vinyashatu. The moon-like Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as the son of Mother Sachi, has now appeared on earth to spread devotional love to himself. He is the emperor of the Brahmin community. He can drive away all the darkness of ignorance and control the mind of everyone in the world. May that rising sun bestow upon us all good fortune. Shunya Prabhur Jadiyantare Ulas Bahire Kahema Kahena Kichu Kore Rasabas. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was inwardly greatly pleased when he heard this verse, externally he spoke as if angry. Kaha tomara Krishna rasa kavya Sudha Sindhu Taramadye mitya kene stuti karabindu. Your exalted poetic description of the mellows of Krishna's pastimes, of Krishna rasa, are like an ocean of nectar. But why have you put in a false prayer about me? It is like a drop of detestable alkali. Raya kohe rupera kavya amritera pura taramaje ek bindu diache karpura. Srila Ramananda Roy objected. It is not alkali at all. It is a particle of camphor he has put into the nectar of his exalted poetic expression. Prabhu ko he rai tomara ihate ulas shunite lajaloke koreupahas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "My dear Ramananda Roy, you are jubilant at hearing these poetic expressions, but I am ashamed to hear them, for people in general will joke about the subject of this verse. Raya kohe lokera sukha ihara shravane avishta devara smriti mangala charane." Ramananda Roy said, instead of joking, people in general will feel great pleasure in hearing such poetry, for the initial remembrance of the worshipable deity invokes good fortune. Raya kohe kon ange patrera pravesh tabi Rupa Gosai kohe tahara visesh. Ramananda Roy inquired, by what subdivision of style do the players enter? Rupa Goswami then began to speak specifically about this subject. Natata kirata rajam nihatya rangastale kalanidina natala natata kirata rajam nihatya rangastale kalanidina samayetena videyam gunavati tarakara grahanam. When dancing on the stage after having killed the ruler of uncivilized men, Kamsa, Lord Krishna, master of all arts, will at the proper time accept the hand of Srimati Radharani, who is qualified with all transcendental attributes. While dancing on the stage after having killed the ruler of uncivilized men, Kamsa, Lord Krishna, master of all arts, will at the proper time accept the hand of Srimati Radharani, who is qualified with all transcendental attributes. Udgatyaka nama e amuka vityanga tomara age kohe ihara darsyara charanga. This introduction is technically called Udgatyaka, and the whole scene is called Viti. You are so expert in dramatic expression that each of my statements before you is like a wave from an ocean of impudence. Parani tvagatartani tadarta gataye nara yojayanti padar anyay sa Udgatyaka uchate. To explain an unclear word, men generally join it with other words. Such an attempt is called Udgatyaka. Raya kohe kaha age angera visesh Sri Rupa kohen kichu sankepa budesh. When Ramananda Roy requested Srila Rupa Goswami to explain further about various portions of the play, Srila Rupa Goswami briefly quoted his Lalita Madhava. Harim udishate rajobara purata sangha mayati amumtama Rajavama drishamna padati prakata sarvajisha shuterapi. The dust from cows and calves on the road creates a kind of darkness indicating that Krishna is returning home from the pasture. Also, the darkness of evening provokes the gopis to meet Krishna. Thus, the pastimes of Krishna and the gopis are covered by a kind of transcendental darkness and are therefore impossible for ordinary scholars of the Vedas to see. Riyam avagriya grihebhya karshati radham vanaya ya nipuna sajayati nishristarta vara vamshaja kakaliduti. Riyam avagriya grihebhya karshati radham vanaya ya nipuna sajayati nishristarta varavam shaja kakaliduti. May the sweet sound of Krishna's flute, his messenger, be glorified, for it expertly releases Srimati Radharani from her shyness and attracts her from her home to the forest. This verse is spoken by Gargi, the daughter of Gargamuni. Sahachari nira tanga koyam yuva mudera dutira brajabhuvi kuta prapto madjan matan gaja vibrama ahaha chatular utsar padbir drig anshala taskarar mamadrati danan sheta koshad vilunta yatiyaya. My dear friend, who is this fearless young man? He is as bright as a lightning cloud, and he wanders in his pastimes like a mad elephant. From where has he come to Vrindaban? Alas, by his restless movements and attractive glances, he is plundering from the vault of my heart the treasure of my patience. Spoken by Srimati Radharani to Lalita Devi. Vihara Sura Dirgika Mamamana Karindrashyava. Vihara Sura Dirgika Mamamana Karindrashya Vilochana Chakorayo Sharad Amanda Chandra Prabha Urombara Tatasya Chabarana Charu Taravali Mayonata Mano Ratar Iyam Alambi Saradika. Srimati Radharani is the Ganges in which the elephants of my mind enjoy pastime. She is the shining of the full moon, of the autumn full moon for the chakora birds of my eyes. She is the dazzling ornament, the bright and beautiful arrangement of stars on the border of the sky in my chest. Now today I have gained Srimati Radharani because of the highly elevated state of my mind. This expresses the thoughts of Krishna in relation with Radharani. Etashuni Rai Kohe Prabhura Charane Rupera Kavitra Prashamsi Sahasrabarane. After hearing this, Srila Ramananda Roy submitted at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the super excellence of Srila Rupa Goswami's poetic expression and began to praise it as if he had thousands of mouths. Kavitvana hoy e amritaradar nataka lakan sabha siddhantarasar. Srila Ramananda Roy said, this is not a poetic presentation, it is a continuous shower of nectar. Indeed, it is the essence of all ultimate realizations appearing in the form of plays. Prema paripati e adbhuta varnan shunichita karnara hoy ananda gurnan. The wonderful descriptions of Rupa Goswami are superb arrangements to express loving affairs. Hearing them will plunge the heart and ears of everyone into a whirlpool of transcendental bliss. Kim kavyena kavistasya kim kandena danushmata parasya hridaye lagnam na gurnayati yatschira. What is the use of a bowman's arrow or a poet's poetry if they penetrate the heart but do not cause the head to spin? Not just enough to penetrate the heart, but must cause the head to spin. What is the use of a bowman's arrow or a poet's poetry if they penetrate the heart but do not cause the head to spin? Tomara Shakti Bina Jivara Nahi Ebani Tumi Shakti Diya Kaho Hena Anumani. Without your mercy, such poetic expressions would be impossible for an ordinary living being to write. My guess is that you have given him the power. Prabhu ko he pratyage ihara hoila milan, ihara gune ihate amar tushta hoilaman. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, I met Srila Rupa Goswami at Prayag. He attracted and satisfied me because of his qualities. Madhura prasana ihar, kavya shalankar, ajhe kavitva binu, nahe rasara prachar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu praised the metaphors and other literary ornaments of Srila Rupa Goswami's poetry. Without such poetic attributes, he said, there is no possibility of preaching transcendental mellows or preaching transcendental rasa. Sabe kripa kori ihare deha ebar, braja lila prema ras, jena barne nirantar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested all his personal associates to bless Rupa Goswami so that he might continuously describe the pastimes of Vrindaban, which are full of emotional love of Godhead. Ihara jay jeshta brata namasanatan prativite vigya bara nahi tarasam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Srila Rupa Goswami's elder brother, whose name is Sanatana Goswami, is such a wise and learned scholar that no one is equal to him. Tomara jaitshe vishaya tyaga taitshe tarariti dainya vairagya pandityera tahate stiti. Mahaprabhu told Ramananda Roy, Sanatana Goswami's renunciation of material connections is just like yours. Humility, renunciation, and excellent learning exist in him simultaneously. Edue baye ami patailun brindabane shakti diya bhakti shastra korite pravartane. I empowered both of these brothers to go to Vrindaban to expand the literature of bhakti. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu informed Srila Ramananda Roy that he and Sanatana Goswami had engaged equally in devotional service after giving up all relationships with material activity. Such renunciation is a symptom of an unalloyed devotee engaged in the service of the Lord with no tinge of material contamination. According to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is the position of Trinadapi Sunichena Taro Eva Sahishnuna. A pure devotee free from the reactions of the material modes of nature executes devotional service with tolerance like that of a tree. He also feels humbler than the grass. Such a devotee who is called niskinchana, or free from all material possessions, is always absorbed in emotional love of Godhead. He is reluctant to perform any kind of sense gratification. In other words, such a devotee is free from all material bondage, but he engages in Krishna conscious activities. Such expert devotional service is performed without hypocrisy. Humility, renunciation, and learned scholarship were combined in Sanatana Goswami, the ideal pure devotee who was on the same level of understanding as Srila Ramananda Roy. Like Ramananda Roy, Sanatana Goswami was a fully cognizant expert in the conclusions of devotional service and was therefore able to describe such transcendental knowledge. Raya kohe ishwara tumi je chaha korite kashtera putale tumi para na chaite. Srila Ramananda Roy replied to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, My Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you like, you can cause even a wooden doll to dance. Moramuke jay sab rasa korila pracharane se rasa dekiye iharalikane. I see that the truths regarding rasa that you express through my mouth are all explained in the writings of Srila Rupa Goswami. I see that the truth regarding rasa that you expounded through my mouth, those truths are all explained in the writings of Srila Rupa Goswami. Bhakti kripa hetu prakashite chahabrajaras jare karo se koribe jagat tomarabas. Because of your causeless mercy toward your devotees, you want to describe the transcendental pastimes in Vrindaban. Anyone empowered to do this can bring the entire world under your influence. Tabe Mahaprabhu koila rupe alingan, tare karaila, sabar charana bandhan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then embraced Rupa Goswami and asked him to offer prayers at the lotus feet of all the devotees present. Advaita, so this is Advaita Nityanandari Sabhabhaktagan Kripakori Rupe Sabe Koila Alingan. Advaita Acharya Nityananda and all the other devotees showed their causeless mercy to Rupa Goswami by embracing him in return. Prabhu Kripa Rupeara Rupera Sadguna Deki Chamatkara Hoila Sabakaramana. Seeing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's special mercy towards Srila Rupa Goswami and seeing his personal qualities, all the devotees were struck with wonder. Tabe Mahaprabhu Sab Bhaktaloya Gela Haridas Thakur Rupe Alingana Koila. Then, when Mahaprabhu left with all of his devotees, Haridas Thakur also embraced Srila Rupa Goswami. Haridas Kohe Tomara Bhagyara Nahisima Jai Sab Barnila Ihar Jai Ke Jani Mahima. Haridas Thakur told him, there is no limit to your good fortune. No one who can understand the glories of what you have described. Shri Rupa Ko Kahanami Kichwina Jani Jai Mahaprabhu Kahan Se Kahibani. Srila Rupa Goswami said, I do not know anything. The only words I can utter are those which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes me speak. Hridiyasya Preranaya Hridiyasya Preranaya Pravartito Ham Varaka Rupopi Tashahare Parakamalam Bande Chaitanya Devasya. Although I am the lowest of men and have no knowledge, the Lord has mercifully bestowed upon me the inspiration to write transcendental literature about devotional service. Therefore, I offer my obeisances at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has given me the chance to write these books. Emata Duijan Krishna Kata Range Suke Kala Gaunaya Rupa Haridasa Sange. In this way, Srila Rupa Goswami passed his time in close association with Haridas Thakur by discussing the pastimes of Lord Krishna in great happiness. Charimasa Rohe Sab Prabhura Bhaktagan Gosai Vidaya Dila Gore Korela Gaman. All the devotees of Mahaprabhu thus spent 4 months with him. Then the Lord bade them farewell and they returned to Bengal. Shri Rupa Prabhupada Nila Chale Rahila Dola Jatra Prabhu Sange Anande Dekila. Srila Rupa Goswami, however, stayed at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and when the Dola Yatra festival took place, he saw it in great happiness with the Lord. So Dola Yatra, or Holi, is at the time of Mahaprabhu's appearance. Dola Anandare Prabhu Rupe Vidai Dila, Aneka Prasad Kori Shakti Sancharila. After the Dole Yatra festival ended, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bade farewell to Rupa Goswami also. The Lord empowered him and bestowed upon him all kinds of mercy. Vrindavane Jahatumi Rahiha Vrindavane Ekbar Ihan Patahiya Sanatane Vrindavane Jahatumi Rahiya Vrindavane Ekbar Ihan Padaya Sanatane. Go to Vrindaban and stay there, the Lord said. You may send here your elder brother Sanatan. Braje Jai Rasa Shastra Korea Nirupan Lupta Tirtha Sabtahan Korea Pracharan. When you go to Vrindaban, stay there. Preach transcendental literature and excavate the lost holy places. Krishna Seva Rasa Bhakti Korea Prachar Amiya Dekite Tahan Jaimu Ekbar. Establish the service of Krishna and preach the mellows or rasa of Lord Krishna's devotional service. Krishna Seva and Rasa Bhakti. Establish the service of Krishna and preach the mellows of Lord Krishna's devotional service. I shall also go to Vrindaban once more. Itaboli Prabhutare Koila Alingan Rupa Gosai Shiredare Prabhuracharan. Having thus spoken, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Rupa Goswami, who then placed the lotus feet of the Lord upon his head. Prabhura Bhaktagan Pashe Vidai Loila Punarapi Godapate Vrindavane Aila Prabhura Bhaktagan Pashe Vidai Loila Punarapi Godapate Vrindavane Aila. Srila Rupa Goswami took leave of all the devotees of Mahaprabhu and returned to Vrindaban by the path through Bengal. Etata Kahilana Puna Rupera Milan Ihaje Shunipai Chaitanya Charan. Thus I have described the second meeting of Srila Rupa Goswami and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anyone who hears of this incident will certainly attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Rupa Raghunath Parijaras Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishna Das. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I Krishna Das narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila, first chapter, describing the second meeting of Srila Rupa Goswami and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Manana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Garadhara Shiva Sadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath H.I. Gosai Kori Chanarna Bandhan Jawate Vignana Shabhishta Puran H.I. Gosai Jar Mui Taradas Tasabar Bada Renu Mora Panchagras Tader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Janame Janame More Abhilash H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas Radha Krishna Antya-lila Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas Harinam Sankirtane Narotamodas Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Narotamodas Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gora Haribo 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 Nitai Gora Haribo 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 Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Garanga Gandharvika Giridhariju Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Rupanuga Guru Bharga Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Premzigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai, Srila Vrindaban Das Thakur Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Bhagwat Ki Jai, Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Jai Om Vishnupad Vishvavaranya, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Sri Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Sri Mayapur Ki Jai, Saparshada Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Saparshada Sriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai, Sri Koladvip Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai, Sokel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Sevashram Ki Jai, Ganga Devi Ki Jai, Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Govardhan, Sham Kuna Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Jo Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, all the assembled devotees Ki Jai, Shri Jayadev Goswami Tirubha Mahotsav Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo.